We'd like to introduce our relaxing lighting solution. This LED light minimizes the disturbances to the human circadian rhythm by providing appropriate light in the evening and nighttime. This light helps users to relax and sleep better so they can have a better tomorrow. Light is the most influential environmental factor that affects the human sleep-wake cycle and the entire world. There are many studies on the awakening effect of light that disturbs people from getting good rest. The natural process of becoming sleepy at night is hindered by excessive exposure to light. We have been reviewing closely how people use lights and paid attention to the cases when people want to relax while doing activities that need proper illumination levels. A good example would be reading. The awakening effect of light comes from the short wavelength part of the visible spectrum that suppresses melatonin production. The action spectrum comes from intrinsically photosensitive retinal ganglion cells, IPRGC's photosensitivity, centered around 480 nanometers, or the cyan region of light. This is proven by nocturnal melatonin suppression experiments and by anatomical studies of retinal photoreceptor cells. It is interesting to note that this is the color of the sky during the day. Therefore, designing a light spectrum that gives minimal spectral power density around the 480 nanometer region at a given brightness is the key to creating a relaxing light. Relaxing lighting must have a very low circadian stimulus. But when it comes to practical lighting installations, just having a very low circadian stimulus is never enough. The fundamental requirements of LEDs, such as high efficacy, long lifetime, good color quality, and eye safety, should also be satisfied. In addition, it would be great to have various correlated color temperatures, CCT options, for freedom in lighting design. Here's Samsung's choice of technology for the best relaxing lighting solution. LM302N Night is built with a special formulation of phosphors that generates a deep trough around the 480 nanometer wavelength region by making use of a narrow bandwidth green phosphor. This type of phosphor was developed for use with TV backlights to achieve a high color gamut of the display. We shaped them into the popular 3030 form factor. We will look into the details of why this is the best relaxing spectrum that also fulfills the requirements of practical lighting. A further reduction of the spectral power around the cyan gap decreases the melanopic-photopic ratio of the spectrum by about 10 to 20% when compared to conventional white LEDs. The benefit that you get can be translated into a 20% lower melanopic daylight equivalent illuminance, MDEI, at the same illuminance compared to conventional LEDs. In other words, 20% higher brightness can bring you the same MDEI. So, you are able to use brighter lighting while maintaining the lowest possible disturbance to the human circadian system. Now let's compare LM302N Night with other potentially good candidates for circadian nighttime LEDs. LM302N Night has a trough in the cyan region by utilizing a narrow bandwidth green phosphor. And here's another spectrum that you can create by using a near UV pump LED chip along with a narrow green phosphor. You can see that the inverse melanopic to photopic ratio is used at the top of the spiderweb chart because we want to minimize the melatonin suppression by the light. In fact, Company C has the highest inverse melanopic to photopic ratio, closely followed by LM302N Night. The gap is narrow. In this case, the question would be, how good is good enough? Efficacy-wise, LM302N is positioned slightly below the conventional warm white due to the reinforced red spectrum in compensation for the loss of CRI due to the lack of the cyan spectrum. Thanks to that, we could still maintain a CRI over 80 with an exceptionally good R9 of 70. Company C is inferior in all the other aspects except for the inverse melanopic to photopic ratio. Efficacy is way too low and lifetime is very short. The color rendering index doesn't even reach 80, and in fact, the color point is way above the ANSI quadrant due to minimizing the blue and cyan region of the spectrum. the blue light hazard is the worst as well. In the nighttime spectra, blue light hazard doesn't mean as much as in daytime spectra. As a result, the blue light hazard level of these three spectra are all much lower than that of daytime spectra. LM302N night minimally interferes with the secretion of melatonin. It can help people feel more comfortable at home and in a hotel, and help patients recover optimized circadian rhythms at healthcare centers. The great thing about Samsung's LM302N night is that the product line encompasses wide correlated color temperature options, from 1800 Kelvin to 4000 Kelvin. Imagine a 3000 Kelvin pleasantly bright light created with LM302N night that gives the same relaxing effect as a 2700 Kelvin standard bulb color. Very warm light created by a conventional LED spectrum. We performed a series of clinical tests with a university in Korea to investigate the effectiveness of the circadian lighting that we created. We recruited 30 male subjects aged from 20 to 50 and had the individuals spend 2 trial periods of 3 days and 2 nights in specially designed rooms with either circadian or conventional lighting environments in the first trial, and a week later with the other type of lighting in the second trial in random order. They could read, work, and exercise during their stay, while the researchers took measurements including electroencephalogram, heart rate, body temperature, and salivary melatonin level by the hour. The melatonin levels at night were analyzed to assess the improved relaxing effect by melatonin secretion and subsequent sleepiness. So here are the results of the average melatonin levels of the subjects under 2 different lighting conditions. As you can see here, the melatonin level under LM302N night was higher than conventional LED lighting from 11 p.m. and maintained until 3 a.m. The average melatonin level of the LM302N night group was 5% higher than the reference group over the time period from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. Additionally, the subjects were allowed to sleep from 3 a.m. onwards without interruption. We measured the melatonin level increase over time by analyzing the dim light melatonin onset, or DILMO. Even though the test group and the control group were under the same 2200 Kelvin, 190 lux lighting environment, the DILMO under the LM302N night relaxing light was 52 minutes faster when compared to the conventional LED lighting, on average. Additionally, the melatonin peak position was also about 30 minutes faster. This indicates that the subjects may go to bed and fall asleep a little more easily when they are under the relaxing LED light. Samsung's LM302N night is offered in 3030 EMC packages with CCT options from 1800 Kelvin to 4000 Kelvin. The corresponding typical melanopic to photopic ratios are shown on the chart. With our relaxing lighting solution, we would like to emphasize that light has a great influence not only during the day, but also at night. Our product helps users to have high-quality relaxation and sleep so they can refresh well and maintain their health. Thank you.